All right, so Tucker Carlson and Greg Norman, former pro golfer, world number one, major champion Greg Norman, they decided to cuck themselves to Saudi Arabia. Their Saudi sugar daddy over and over and over here. They go full simp mode. Tucker went to the new LIV Golf event. LIV Golf is the new Saudi tour. Tucker went to the LIV Golf event, which was being hosted in Bedminster, New Jersey, at a Donald Trump golf course. Now, let me pause on that for a second. Donald Trump, former president, wants to be president again. He probably took at least, I'm going to say at least 10 million, probably more, from Saudi Arabia to host this event at his golf course. Now, there have been no numbers reported. I'm just guessing it's about 10 million. It's definitely millions, no doubt about that. So he's being paid by a foreign country. And again, you want to be president again? That's as corrupt as it gets. If Hillary Clinton did the exact same thing, people would rightly be calling her out and calling her massively corrupt. You can't just take millions from Saudi Arabia for a golf event when you have to do fucking nothing. What's going to happen now if you're in office? Well, the same thing happened before. You're going to give them anything and everything they want. Multi-billion-dollar weapons deals. You're going to look the other way as they do a genocide in Yemen. You're going to look the other way as they assassinate an American journalist. Incredibly corrupt. Now, they're going to talk about this golf event. Are any of those serious issues going to be brought up? No. This is Tucker Carlson tonight. He's there to throw softballs to Greg Norman. So let's watch the interview, and I'll comment on it as we go.
What is the business model? I mean, you're not signing your players to an exclusivity contract at all. They can play wherever else they want. There are no TV rights at this point. You're streaming it for free. They're putting a huge amount of money into it. That's obvious just from sitting here. So how does the revenue arrive?
Well, the revenue...
You don't really need revenue when you have Saudi oil money funding you. And their whole purpose here is what's called sports washing, which is to make their image better by, like, giving people entertainment. So they don't care that they're not making money. There is no business model. It is nothing but a giant effort to make Saudi Arabia look less evil than they are.
Come in once we launch the league, right? This year is a startup.
Yes.
Right? Because, quite honestly, back in February...
To call it a startup is hilarious.
We were ready to start up. There was a few obstacles thrown in our way from the PGA Tour. And so we had to pull our reins back a little bit.
For our viewers who aren't following it, can you give us a sense of those obstacles?
Well, that's when the book came out about Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson made some not so complimentary remarks about the Saudi, where the money came from, and Saudi Arabia. And then it snowballed and created a bit of a dominoes or a scary effect. And the PGA Tour came in, and they obviously did the right thing and trying to protect their monopoly. Came in, and the players backed off a little bit. So we had to...
Now, by the way, let me just pause on that for a second. This new line of argument of, they're a monopoly, and that's not okay. There are certain fields where the government actually allows monopolies. One of them is professional sports. Why? Because with professional sports, you want all the best players playing under the same roof so they can play each other. So there are a bunch of monopolies that are granted for sports because it's kind of unique in that a monopoly makes it better. Okay, another example. Boxing had all these different belts and all these, different things, and it's sort of a mess as a result of that. When you look at something like, I don't know, the NBA, the MLB, right? Like, you want to have all the best players under the same roof. You just do. Okay? So it's one of the rare areas where there actually is an argument for granting monopoly status. Now, of course, they shouldn't, take advantage of their workers and do a lot of the negative things that are generally associated with monopolies, but that's why you can and should have regulation around that. Now, I'm not saying the PGA Tour is perfect. They're not. They're going to get into that in a second. But they're trying to, it's like a pithy, glib point they're trying to throw out there to make it seem like the PGA Tour is equally as bad, if not worse, than this Saudi blood money tour, and that's garbage.
Regroup. We're ready to sign the next week. We're ready to sign multiple players and launch the league. So we decided to take a step back, analyze the situation. We knew our model was the way it was. We knew our investor was still there. He wasn't going anywhere. The money was in the bank, right? So we just made an adjustment. And we worked around every obstacle that's been thrown in our path. So we came up with the Invitational Series to beta test LIV, right? Now with the fans, Tucker, we did a survey for nearly 12 months around the world, asking fans from different tours, what do they like and what are they missing? And they came up, it was overwhelmingly more fan engagement, right? More fan experiences, and team.
The crowds are kind of sad, as you can see here. By the way, on the day of the event, they were selling tickets for $1 at the gate. Not exactly a home run. Ever since the first LIV event, there's been like 3 or 4 of them. The first one had the most viewership, the most buzz around it, and it's gone down, 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 down. What a surprise.
Sport. Give us more teams, and we built the model around that. And our model, Tucker, is 100% built around the golf ecosystem from the ground up. So we're not trying to destroy the PGA Tour.
Yes, they are. They're trying to replace the PGA Tour over time, become the only game in town, for sure.
Or the European Tour. We're there to work within the ecosystem to show that it's big enough space. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? Billions and billions of dollars in the game of golf.
Why would
The only reason Greg Norman is doing this is because he's getting paid, son. He is a ruthless, vicious, greed is good capitalist. He's Gordon Gekko. And he probably got paid $1 gazillion to do this. That's the only reason he's doing it.
sponsors drop golfers for participating in LIV?
Tucker, that blows my mind. And sponsors, by the way, who spend billions of dollars in Saudi Arabia. The PGA Tour.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yes. Everybody else does bad things, so we should do things that are just as bad, or actually worse.
Can you give us examples?
I'll give you a prime example. The PGA Tour, I think, has about 27 sponsors on the PGA Tour, do $40+ billion worth of business on an annual basis in Saudi Arabia. Now, why doesn't the PGA Tour call the CEOs of each one of those organizations, oh, sorry, we can't do business with you?
Now, let me say this. The same people who are criticizing this new Saudi-funded tour are the same people who have consistently criticized the business connections that the PGA Tour has with China, the business connections that they have with some companies that are associated with Saudi Arabia. So it's like, aha, gotcha, they do bad things. No, because then by your own standard, you're not only doing something bad, also you're doing something worse. So you're saying, why don't we all just act immorally and unethically and take blood money? No, none of you should be taking blood money. None of you should be. God, it's so morally vacuous, this nonsense.
Because you're doing business with Saudi Arabia? Why are they picking on the professional golfers? Why? The male professional golfers. Females...
By the way, let's also stipulate here, it is an order of magnitude different and worse to all of the money is coming from MBS. All of it. All of it is coming from MBS. It's not even like funneled through different sources and it's questionable about where exactly is this money coming from. It's all coming directly from MBS for the purpose of sports washing Saudi Arabia. It is blood money. And he's just, he's going full moral relativist to make the point here.
The LPGA Tour is sponsored by Aramco, right?
Literally?
Literally. The largest sponsor of women's golf in the world is Aramco.
Yes, and that's terrible. And the PGA Tour are hypocrites. I've been a golf fan for a long time, and I've often thought and said, no, they shouldn't be taking any of this money from any brutal, oppressive regime or oil company affiliated with, or the state oil company of repressive regimes. That's all true. And you want to point out the hypocrisy of them? Sure. But don't act like what you're doing is moral and justified, and it's all about improving the game of golf. My ass cheeks. You don't give a fuck about the game of golf. You see dollar signs. And by the way, does it really improve the game of golf to have, a brutal dictator being forever affiliated with it and running the entire fucking, number one league? Golf already has this perception of being massively elitist. And he looked at that and said, let's make it even worse.
That not one word has been said about them, right? But why is it on the guys? Why are we the ogres? What have we done wrong? We're independent contractors. We have a right to go play wherever we want in the world for whatever.
The year is 1939. Goebbels starts a golf tour and throws millions of dollars at the professional golfers. Pfft. Why does everybody act like I'm the bad guy? I'm an independent contractor. I get to take whatever money I want from whoever I want. You sure do, but that doesn't mean there aren't consequences as a result of that and perception issues as a result of that because you are taking blood money. Now you say, oh my God, you did Godwin's Law. You're comparing the Nazis to something. Saudi Arabia is literally doing a genocide in Yemen. Don't take my word for it. Tens of thousands dead. They've bombed hospitals, mosques, open-air markets, schools. They're doing a blockade of the country and starving it. People are literally starving to death in Yemen because of Saudi Arabia. They are doing a genocide. Don't give me the, oh, is it really that bad? What do we do wrong? I'm just an independent contractor. I'm just a golfer. Shut the fuck up. Look, I would at least have more respect if this entire interview was Greg Norman coming out saying, we did it all for the money, dog. I couldn't say no. The paycheck was too big. These other golfers, they can't say no. The paycheck is too big. Just, at least that's honest. At least that's honest. But no, they're bullshitting us.
So what do you think that's about? It's clearly not about principle, obviously. So what is it about?
It's a monopoly. They just...
By the way, what happened to, Tucker likes to fancy himself from time to time as like, I'm anti-war. But all of a sudden, cucking yourself to Saudi Arabia, a vicious warlike country that not only treats gays and women horribly, but beheads people in the public square and is doing a genocide in Yemen and massacring journalists. Now all of a sudden you're simping for them.
Want to shut us down whatever way they can, right? So they'll use whatever leverage point they can to shut us down. And they're not. They're not going to shut us down because the product's speaking for itself. We have my phone almost on a daily basis gets calls every day from players. One in, I want in. How can I join this?
Now, here's why that's happening, by the way. I just need to... The PGA Tour, I've told you guys this before. Every week there's an event, they have something called the cut. So only half the field gets to make money. You play for 4 days total, right? But if you are not in the top half of the field after the first 2 days, you get cut. You make no money. So it's possible to be a professional golfer on the best tour in the world and lose money in a given year. And you have to be in the top 125 or something like that to really stay on tour and have, full exemption for all the various events. So it's tough. So yeah, people are going to call them who are ranked number 137 and they're going to be like, I need money. So on that front, yeah, you could blame the PGA Tour for not paying their workers well enough. And they're registered as a charity, which is all just a tax fraud thing where it's and so they can't have guaranteed contracts as a result of that, which is now shooting themselves in the foot. So there are criticisms there. But, don't act like, Greg Norman is acting like, because we're so much better and we're not doing anything wrong. That's why people want to join us. Bullshit, man.
I tell them, I'm sorry, the shop is closed. So the list gets longer and longer and longer for the players who want to come in, which again is a testament to the right white noise.
Why is it
It's a testament to giant blood money checks.
so offensive to some American golf fans that you're doing this? What do they matter?
For all the reasons I just laid out, dick. And honestly, to somebody like Tiger, and they'll get to him in a second, it's offensive because now what happens to all the historical records, right? Is a LIV Golf win really the same as a PGA Tour win? How do you compare records as a result of that? Tiger was able to compare himself to Jack Nicklaus, the greatest one before him, because they all played on the PGA Tour and they all played the major championships. And the majors are going to stay as they are, but because they're not run by the PGA Tour. But now, Tiger has 83 PGA Tour wins. Somebody has 83 wins on the LIV Tour. Is that equal to Tiger? No, that's not equal because the competition's different and the fields are weaker. So there's tradition reasons too as to why you wouldn't want to bust this up.
I don't know. I really don't care, quite honestly. I just love the game of golf so much and I just want to grow the game of golf. And
you love money.
And we at LIV see that opportunity. We at LIV see it not just for the men, but for the women. We at LIV see it for NCAA.
I love that now. So they're going to do some women's golf funding too. And of course the implication there is don't look at our domestic policies about women, please.
In younger generations, we see it as a pathway to opportunities for these kids to experience a new world out there. LIV is the future of golf. And that's a very simple phrase and comment, but LIV is the future of golf because you don't see what we see in the future. You don't see what we want to invest in the future. CSR.
We see a lot of money in the future.
Programs, education programs, all this stuff that's out there that we want to get involved with for golf and growing the game of golf.
So you keep reading that you offered Tiger Woods $700-800 billion, some unknown number to join LIV. Is that true?
That number was out there before I became CEO. So that number's been out there, yes.
Yeah.
And
Tiger rejected $700 to $800 million to join this tour. Goat. Straight up goated. Now, again, he's not doing it for moral reasons. He's not. Yeah, I just got to keep it real about that. I love Tiger. He's not doing it for moral reasons. But whatever reason he rejected it, that's so based. You're rejecting probably more money than any single human in human history has ever rejected. That's so goated.
Look, Tiger's a needle mover, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, you got to look at the best of the best, So they had originally approached Tiger before I became CEO. So, yes, that number is somewhere in that neighborhood.
Big number.
Yeah, it is, actually.
I would say. Call me small time. What's Donald Trump's connection? He seems like a supporter. We haven't talked about it, but we're at his golf club right now.
Yeah. I've known Donald for a long time. I played golf with him before he was president. And I've done golf courses that he's acquired, right? So his passion for the game of golf is as passionate as he's been a president, where stars and stripes flow through his blood, right? It's the same with golf. He loves his golf. And he sees the commercial opportunity of what golf can give him, right? Trump
He literally just said Trump's doing it for the money. True.
There is no different, right? The membership here is full. It's a commercial entity for him. It's an operation where he can make some revenue out of it. So when we first started, obviously as the startup, we needed venues. He had heard about it. We were in discussions with him, and we just negotiated a venue fee with him here, and he loves it. And he's now this week he's just been in the background, but in the foreground, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Yes,
so he's been.
Okay. Trump did it all for the money, of course. He was also previously snubbed by the PGA Tour. They used to have an event at a course called Doral. Trump bought that course, then they left that course because they don't want to be associated with him because he's fucking toxic. He's toxic. So even like the public perception of him is down in the dumps. So they didn't want anything to do with him, and so now he hates the PGA Tour for that reason because they personally snubbed him, and also he's just doing it for the money. Look, we don't need to watch any more of this. You guys get the gist of it. But I saved the biggest point for the end here, which is this. The 9/11 victims' families protested this event. They ran multiple ads on TV talking about how Saudi Arabia is responsible for 9/11, 15 of the 19 hijackers came from there, they helped fund it, etc. They ran brutal ads against Trump, against Norman, against the main big-name golfers who were there, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson, etc., Dustin Johnson. They even went and protested at the course. So-called journalist Tucker Carlson did a whole interview with Norman about this, didn't even mention the 9/11 families who were currently protesting this same event, who were running ads against it, who held a press conference against it. You didn't even bring them up. You didn't even ask a softball question on that issue. You dodged it. You dodged it. Why? Because ultimately, they are cucking to Saudi Arabia. They are Saudi blood money simps. That's what they are. It's not real journalism. It's not a real interview. It's not a real fucking golf tour. It's a sports washing extravaganza for people who can't find a single moral or ethical fiber in their being. Every golfer who fled to this thing, it was a test of character, and so many of them failed. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.